I suck balls at gaming, and it doesn't help that I mostly get on way too late for me to not be absolutely faded while playing. But who cares about fixing their sleep schedule? No, I want another solution, which is where science comes in, baby. Today we'll be performing an experiment to see just how much better caffeine can make me at gaming. So how will I do this? Well, the idea is to compare late-night gameplay from before and after taking caffeine. To cover multiple aspects of gaming, I will play one round of Hypixel Bed Wars, which I am buns at, as well as a round of Counter-Strike, which I am equally buns at. So it feels that this round was primarily motivated, more than I would have thought it to be, but I didn't really have the energy to back up any faith in abandoning my reclusion to the island, the bed. However, I was focused enough to perform decently, though by no standards well, of course. I also feel like I paid a lot of attention for what I was capable of doing to my surroundings. Notably, of course, we didn't win this round, and what we did perform well in was mostly carried by my team, but I do think that by the standards of it being 3 AM and me being absolutely fucking faded, it makes it somewhat impressive that we held out for so long. Even if it more so speaks for the talent of my teammates than my personal ability even under these conditions. All in all, this was far from the best Bed Wars match I've ever played, especially when compared to the pandemic era prime that me and my friend group were in, but it was certainly better than I would have expected going into it. Counter-Strike time, baby! I was quite tired by now, though optimistic, from the last round of Bed Wars, which however made it all the more impressive that I started out not playing all too horribly, that meaning a few kills here and there, and overall our team dominating the first half, specifically the terrorist half. I was feeling the sleepiness getting to me, but it didn't really matter, as I was still playing well enough by my standards. Despite a few good moments, I was obviously not the best player on the team. And for playing with randoms, the cohesion was quite alright, though I wasn't entirely focused. It was, however, emboldening and surprising how well we were doing for now. What I did notice was that I felt a strong urgency to perform well. For whatever reason, I can't tell. Perhaps it was an underlying fear of not living up to what I thought the caffeinated rounds would end up being. The good luck from the first few rounds wasn't, however, meant to last, as made completely evident by the sheer fuck-assery of the later half. I don't think it's fair to attribute this to anything more neurochemical than just the fall-off in our locked-inness. However, the fall-off was well noticeable for the first few rounds of the CT half. Though that being said, we did manage to regain our footing and secure an unlikely win. So, what's the plan? Well, if you ask me, the answer is simple. Club Mate. Now, since I'm speaking English in this video, some of you might not know what it is. It's essentially iced mate tea, which you might have seen on TikTok or something before, and it essentially serves as the lifeblood of anyone studying for Abitur in Bavaria. Its taste is also famously hard to describe, but I'd do so by comparing it to an ashtray left out in the rain in Stalinism, in the best possible way. And exactly for that reason, and its caffeine amount, it's perfect for our experiment. You see, one of these bottles contains around 100 milligrams of caffeine, half of the supposed recommended single dosage for a healthy adult. My strategy going into this round was clearly very similar to the previous one. However, I might have been a little less shy from adventuring out, though my focus left a lot to be desired, even though I was certainly at the beginning quite present, just perhaps a little bit too energized to act in accordance with how I should have. That being said, however, I did refrain from combat wherever possible and stayed nearby the home island, probably for the better, letting my teammates handle the difficult aspects of this match. My strategy therefore leaning more so towards an architectural inclination than anything else. It does, however, seem that I was quite motivated to participate to the best of my abilities in this match, whereas I might have expected the caffeine to lead me to act more independently than I actually did. All in all, I certainly didn't seem to contribute more than goofing off and the building to the eventual victory we would achieve. Back to our favorite online casino, I had noticed that by now any energy I had gained from the Club Mate earlier was completely gone and replaced by sheer frustration and almost a sense of boredom. Notably, I had noticed that I failed to cooperate with my team, and I was rushing into things almost as if just to get this round over with. It didn't yet look like we were gonna lose, but it did seem that any progress we had made towards an eventual victory was brought upon by my teammates, not by any good aim or whatever on my part. Still, it was when going into the CT half that things started looking dangerous, which wasn't helped by the fact that I was doing little more than just goofing off once again. But the heck do I know, cause when we were closest to losing, it did look like I managed to get my aim in order and lock in, more or less. Just maybe though, there was still some caffeine left in my system, enough for me to be able to pay attention and use my utilities to the best of my ability, resulting in this pretty cool fire kill. So what have we learned? Well, it seems it makes my balls worth of a difference whether or not I drink caffeine after a certain point, even if it could have made my alertness higher by any degree or aim. The most things, of course, I noticed during the CS2 halves, where if I had the motivation, the caffeine at least helped me pull through. All in all, I do assume that a drink or two could mean the world in the afternoon or early evening, but after midnight I'm usually beyond saving. Still, this was fun. Don't forget to leave a hate comment and follow me on Twitch. Bye!